Okay, so we're back at work on our Lobo. A couple of housekeeping items. We're going to be doing the front and rear hubs and the rear brake setup today. We got our stabilizer all finished up. We ended up having to take an air tool and grind quite a bit of material and kind of round this edge off in order for it to get far enough forward on the frame so it didn't come in contact with the steering stem. So it took a lot of trial and error to get that figured out. And again, this is off of Polaris 90. This is a 250EX. And I think it's almost exact. I couldn't see the difference if there is one. So we got all that done. We already took the time to replace the rubbers for our seat supports, front and rear. So these are new OEM Honda units, nice and squishy, instead of old and brittle like the other ones that we had. And then we've got our rear brake stay, and we're gonna get that finished up today. So go ahead. Oh, and we got one more thing that we did. On the front hubs, so we put new OEM bearings. So with these new bearings front and rear, we got the spacer on the inside for the tapered hubs, and then these actually don't use a front seal or an outer seal here because the center cap has an O-ring on it, so we don't use that piece right there. Okay. All right, so go ahead and throw your front hub on. Okay, here's your spacer and your nut. Just kind of hand tighten it. So we got our spacer, all that kind of stuff on. And we'll put our center caps on, probably off video.
Okay.
All right, so we got that going.
Wait, should I make it obvious that it isn't tightened?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
So we usually kind of leave our stuff loose like this. That way we don't forget that we didn't torque it down. And then we got our rear brake setup, which we finally got this all figured out. I guess they use a spacer, but it's only if you use the stock OEM lock nut. So go ahead and grab a Loctite, sweetheart. So we're gonna get this guy put on here. Okay. This is a Caliper rear rotor, and this is a TRX 450R RPM antifade hub. We got our original East Coast ATV block off, which we used. This was actually off the same bike, off of our 250R. You want to hold those, sweetie? All right. Okay, hand those over. And you want to grab that quarter inch 12mm ratchet?
Hold on, after you.
And put that one in.
Go up.
Go ahead and you just move it around as you need.
Where is it going in even? I don't think it actually.
You need to just start to learn how to feel stuff. You can't just sit there and always look at it. So just put it up there and start moving around until it goes in. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay, grab the quarter inch ratchet. Go ahead and snug those down. Again, we just torque stuff. We use all the factory torque specs. We just do it off camera because it takes a really long time. And no one wants to sit here and watch us ratchet something for an hour. So we torque everything down off camera, and then we move on to the next segment. So while she's doing that, I'll grab our front hubs. We got our lock nut here for the anti-fade that goes in. These RPM units are nice because they've got an insert in here. It looks like a steel insert inside the anti-fade. So the snap ring seals up against the steel insert instead of just hitting aluminum where they usually end up getting loose. So that's a nice thing that RPM does for us there. Oh. Okay, that snaps in place. We're all good. And then we just hand tighten this out against it. Okay. Got all these pieces back from the zinc plater, so those are all nice and decorroded, all nice and pretty. We'll get the other one while she's doing that.
Alright, I finished that.
Okay. Snug that guy down, or just move it down a little bit. Yeah, leave it loose like you said, so that we know that it hasn't been torqued down.
Yeah, we'll cut it
Make sure we get all that
fall
done.
off or something.
Okay, so we just turn this out by hand. And that takes up all that slack.
This is so nice.
Okay, so we got our, again, so we tried to do as many new parts as we can so stuff's not just breaking down us all the time. So this is a complete 450R rear brake setup. It's just the OEM brake stay, OEM rear caliper, and then we got our RPM antifade with our galper rotor, and then RPM axle. All this stuff just lines right up. We're going to do our sprocket and chain in an upcoming video. And then on the front here, again, we did the 06 450R spindles. These are, because they're 06, these are 89. We put the 89 spacer and bearings into this hub so it'll work on the tapered, so it works on the tapered shaft, whereas the 88s have that straight shaft. So we've got our piece in there that accommodates that taper, which is all 89 stuff. So those are all interchangeable. So next time we're gonna put we gotta do some brakes. We gotta do our front and rear brakes. We've got some crown brake lines coming from Duncan Racing, and then we'll go ahead and get that wrapped up. Thanks everybody.